right, first I want to say thank you, Jesus, for the win. Um, whew. Pastor Hudgens is in France, and he always like sends me these messages, and he meets with me in the locker room before games to pray, and he sent me this message, and it said, "You're gonna get a victory, but it's gonna be a competitive fight." Those were his words, and I was like, "Dude, like you can't send me that before a game. You got to tell me we're gonna win." And sorry, but those were his words, and so the whole game I kept saying, "Okay, like we got to embrace this competitive fight." You know, I just in the huddles talking to the guys, just embrace the competitive fight. We got to love this. We got to love these kind of games because these games like really tell you who you are. They show who you are. And so proud of the guys. We do a drill almost every day in practice called championship points. And you get a stop, a score, a stop. That's how you win a championship. At the end of some games, there's going to be some game that's going to come down to win that thing. You got to get a stop. You got to go down and get a score. You got to come back and get a stop. And we ended the game on 2 championship points. And so really, really proud of the guys for that. And then, you know, with down 5 with 43 seconds to go, we didn't panic. We work 5 to grind every day. And we actually just had that scenario in practice yesterday where we had to run the diamond press and cause a turnover, get a score. And, you know, and so the dudes, they were ready for that moment. A lot of credit to Tulsa, man. They're a good team. The Grigsby kid, like he hadn't played this year. So he wasn't on the scouting report until, you know, 13 minutes before the game started. We was able to show a little film of him, and 12 points in a 1-possession game is a lot of points. And so for the guys to be able to have something thrown at him that we didn't prepare him for and be able to adjust to that. I thought in the first half they pounded us on the glass, man. It was 13-4 second chance points. But in the second half, we ended up winning the second chance points battle, 17-15. They only had 2 offensive rebounds the last 17 minutes of the game. And so really, really proud of our guys. And then we didn't shoot the ball well from 3 today, and we still scored 84 points. But I know somebody's going to ask me what I learned about the team. I learned we've got some toughness and resilience to us, and that we do have some defensive DNA in us that we're going to continue to grow.
I'm sure there's an advantage to facing that kind of game pressure before you get to that tournament in Kansas City this weekend.
Yeah, this stretch is going to be really good for us, right? You don't want to we're not going to like put a lot of emphasis on the outcome as we are going to be on the process of getting better and continuing to raise our game and playing more minutes the right way, the way we need to play, and trying to get to where we can put 40 minutes together. And we knew Tulsa was a tough physical team. Eric does a great job. It's the one thing we preached to the guys, that they were going to get hit on every possession, and they're going to Green didn't have his best game, but guy, he's a good player, and Barnstable, man, what a heck of a player, and big shots that he made. And so, yeah, no, that just helps us. I know Mississippi State fairly well, and know that they got shot makers, and I know they offensive rebound, and they're really, really going to guard you. So it's going to be just the next challenge for us as we continue to grow as a team.
Looking back on it, I know it's easy to say it now, but do you regret taking PJ out before the under 4?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was bad sub. 4 minutes, 7 seconds to go. He picked up his 4th foul. I figure we're probably going 1 possession, and there's going to be a dead ball. We're going to go to the media. And instead, it went 1.5 minutes. So terrible sub on my part. But luckily, when you have players, they can overcome coaches' mistakes.
Another one on PJ. He scores 4 points in the first half, 27 in the second. What did you see flip on him there?
Well, we did we eliminated the hedge with what we did early in the first half. They 2 on the ball, drop coverage, tagging off the lift. So there's just a lot of bodies around him. And he there was some different reads he probably should have been making at the time. There's to get the ball out of his hands. So in the second half, we ran some different stuff where they were unable to hedge to put 2 on the ball, which got him downhill better. And then he just turned it up, right? Like that's what good players do. Like, hey, the game's on the line. He's looking over and he says, hey, man, get me the ball. And you love that about him. And then he went and made really good basketball plays.
And how encouraging was it for you to see David knock down a couple clutch shots there in the second half?
Man, David Castillo is a really good basketball player, and I'm not surprised by any of this, right? I'm not, and there's so much more for him. And what I loved was that when he missed the open three that he had that could have tied the game, you saw him like, wow, he's beat himself, but he didn't let it linger, and so then we get the steal, and he's coming down, and he's like, I'm gonna go make this bucket. Right, and he didn't hesitate to want to pass it to somebody. He had the advantage. He went and got it and made the finish, and so it was awesome.
You take me through some of the. You said you had the championship, whatever you call it, late in the game when you guys are trying to shut them down defensively. Just what goes in that, and what did you translate it over from practice to the game?
What translated from practice to the game is that we work on it all the time. We talk about it all the time. And I give them a real hard time that I don't know if at the end of games we can get a stop to win the game. I know at the end of games we can get a score to win the game, but I don't know if at the end of games we can get a stop. And so they get annoyed with me saying that over and over and over. So they have actually what goes into it, that's just something for the program.
Wanted to ask about Moby's status tonight and just how his absence impacted the game.
Man, how about we just talk about how Taj impacted the game, right? Like, he was ready. His number was called, went in and played. He played 7 minutes, was 1 for 1. The lefty shot that he made after he got the offensive rebound, and then played really good defense. And so, yeah, I'd rather talk about what Taj did than the absence of a player.
It looked like you were pretty fired up heading back into the locker room. Did this one mean just a little bit more for you?
No, the win didn't mean more. Like I had already had my speech planned for the loss, right? I knew because we had a terrible shoot-around today. And I got on the dudes. It actually went longer than it should have. And one of my rules is like no bad news on game day, very positive. One of my promises to players is that the 180 days that we practice, you're not going to like me very much. But on those 40 nights a year that the popcorn's popping and the referee's out there, you're going to love playing for me, right? And today at shoot-around, man, I was on the verge of flipping. Right, and I was like, just trying to hold it together. And so, one of those things where you hope guys can learn the lesson. I hope the end of the Cal game we could have learned a lesson that you don't have to take an L to learn, right? Focus, sense of urgency, and so, it wasn't the win didn't mean more. What meant more was the championship point. Like you don't know, like how we won the game. Down 5, 43 seconds to go, and just being able to get a stop, a score, a stop, a score, a stop. And then CJ knocked the ball out of bounds. Nate didn't touch it, and we knew it was going to be our ball, so we had extra time to plan what we wanted to do on offense. CJ told us, hey, Coach, I touched the ball, so we had extra time to plan what we wanted to do on defense. And that extra time, meant everything in the world on because we figured, hey, they're going to 23, right, Green, and he's going to drive left, and we need to be in the gaps, and just what we need to do, and with that extra time allowed us to. So just their maturity in those moments, that's what made it so exciting. That's what because when you see your kids mature and grow and take steps forward, man, there's nothing more exciting than that.
The defense down the stretch, obviously, with some big plays, but maybe just the entirety of the game. What steps forward do you think your defense made today?
We got to do better on when we're in certain coverages that all 5 guys are in the coverage. Like we had times where, 4 guys were in it and 1 guy wasn't, and then they were able to to get a slip, and I can think of 3 of them that happened that there should have been switches, and there's no way in the world somebody should have been able to get an open shot, and we just weren't on the same page there. So we gotta whatever defense win, we gotta all have all 5 on the same page, be able to communicate, especially on that end of the court where we're not there to talk to them. Well, thank you for the students and the fans that came out tonight. I thought their noise, especially with guys at the free throw line, I thought it impacted the game, and in a one-possession game, man, it means so much. So thank you for everybody who was here, and really appreciate you, and hope to see you in Kansas City. God bless. Go Cats.